Most people never notice the quiet one in the back of the room. The guy who slips in, does his job, and leaves without anyone remembering his name. But sometimes, it's the quiet ones who carry the stories that change everything. No one at Titan Edge Capital ever cared much for the janitor, except for the day their billionaire CEO decided to play a joke on him. The kind of joke rich men find funny, at least until the moment that wipes the smile clean off their face. This is the story of how a single dad, tired, broke, and just trying to survive, ended up teaching a lesson that shook an entire company and melted a heart that had been frozen for years. Before we begin, take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to Daddy Stories for more emotional and inspiring real-life tales. Your support helps us keep sharing powerful stories like this one. Marcus Hale started working the night shift at Titan Edge Capital the same week he sold his wedding ring to pay rent. He didn't tell anyone, not even his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who thought Daddy's new job made him a superhero who guarded the fancy building at night. He didn't guard anything. He scrubbed trash bins, polished marble floors, and made sure the glass conference tables sparkled before the men and women in suits arrived at sunrise. Marcus didn't mind the work. He just minded the empty place at home where his late wife's laughter used to be. The only thing that kept him going was knowing that Lily was sleeping safely in the tiny apartment they shared, with her worn-out teddy bear tucked under her arm. Titan Edge Capital was run by a man most people only knew from magazine covers, Elias Stone, billionaire, financial genius, the kind of man who always looked like he was running 5 minutes ahead of the entire world. And Marcus? Well, Marcus didn't expect Elias Stone to ever know he existed. That changed one Friday morning. Marcus was finishing his shift when the elevator doors slid open and out walked Elias himself, followed by a cloud of executives in suits so sharp they could probably cut paper. The group was laughing loudly about something, the kind of laugh that sounds like a performance. One executive nudged Elias. "Hey, Betty could give you some investing tips," he joked, pointing at Marcus and laughing harder. Elias smirked. "You know what? Let's ask him." Marcus froze mid-wipe, holding a rag that smelled like lemon cleaner. He looked around thinking maybe Elias was talking to someone else. But no, they were all looking at him. "You," Elias said, stepping closer, "give me your best investing advice." Marcus felt his face heat up. He wasn't stupid. He knew this was a joke. A billionaire asking a janitor for financial advice? They were probably waiting for him to stutter, to say something dumb they could laugh about at their morning meeting. But then he remembered something Lily had told him the night before. "Daddy, sometimes people need kindness the most when they show it the least." It echoed in his mind like a small but steady heartbeat. So Marcus straightened his shoulders, even though his uniform was wrinkled and he smelled faintly of floor polish. "Well," he said quietly, "I've got something." The executives exchanged amused glances. Elias raised an eyebrow. Marcus took a breath. "My advice is simple. Invest in people. Not in what they can do for you, but in who they are. My wife used to say you can't build anything worth keeping on cold ground. If you want growth, real growth, you start with kindness. Everything else follows." For a moment there was silence. Then someone snorted. The executives burst into laughter, like that was the punchline they'd been waiting for. "Kindness," one of them mocked. "Now there's a real Wall Street strategy." Elias didn't laugh. He just stared at Marcus with an unreadable expression, cold, assessing. Then he nodded once. "Interesting," he said. "Thank you." None of the executives understood why their boss didn't laugh along, but something in Elias's face had shifted, just slightly, like one gear in a very complicated machine had clicked into place. Marcus didn't think about it again. He finished his shift and went home, where Lily greeted him with a hug that squeezed away the weight of the morning. But Monday changed everything. Marcus arrived for his night shift to find a white envelope taped to his locker. His stomach dropped. People like him didn't get envelopes. Envelopes meant trouble, pay cuts, schedule changes, or worse. He opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a note with the Titan Edge letterhead. "Please report to CEO Elias Stone's office at 6:15 a.m. Executive Administration." Marcus felt sick. He couldn't lose this job. Not now. Not when he was barely keeping the lights on. He finished his shift with his heart pounding so loudly he could hear it over the hum of the floor buffer. At 6:15 on the dot, he knocked on the CEO's office door. "Come in," Elias said. Marcus stepped inside. The office looked exactly like what you'd imagine a billionaire's office would look like. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather chairs, a desk big enough to land a helicopter on. Elias didn't look up from his laptop. "Sit." Marcus sat. His palms were sweating. After a long silence, Elias finally spoke. "Do you know why you're here?" Marcus swallowed. "If it's about the other day, sir, I didn't mean—" Elias held up a hand. "The other day," he repeated softly. "When you talked about kindness." Marcus braced himself. Elias leaned back. "My executives laughed, but I didn't." Marcus nodded nervously, unsure where this was going. Elias continued. "My father built this company. He believed in numbers, not people. He used to say kindness was weakness. I followed that model my whole life." He took a slow breath. "But last year, when he died, I realized something. I couldn't think of a single kind memory I had with him. Not one." The room felt heavy with something unspoken. Marcus realized he had never seen a billionaire look sad before. Elias turned his chair toward the window, looking out over the city. "Your comment, it bothered me. Not because it was foolish, but because it wasn't." He turned back. "I want to know more." Marcus blinked. "Sir, I want you to meet with me once a week. Mornings, before your shift ends. You'll call it whatever you want. Mentorship, conversation, guidance. I don't care. But I want you to tell me more about what your wife taught you." Marcus stared at him, stunned. I'm a janitor." "Not to me," Elias said. "Not anymore." And so began the strangest relationship anyone at Titan Edge had ever seen. Every Wednesday morning before the suits arrived, Marcus sat with a billionaire and talked. Not about the stock market or mergers, but about life, about forgiveness, about raising a daughter alone, about the small things that make a day better instead of worse. Elias listened, really listened. Over the weeks, something softened in him. He smiled more, thanked employees, asked people how they were doing, and actually waited for the answer. The office felt warmer, lighter. People whispered about the janitor meetings, but no one mocked Marcus anymore. The real change came one morning when Elias entered the office cafeteria unannounced. He cleared his throat and made an announcement that stunned the entire staff. "We're launching a new initiative," he said. "A fund dedicated to supporting employees facing hardship, medical bills, family loss, financial struggles. And it's fully company-backed." He paused. Because no success is real if it leaves people behind. Every employee turned to look at Marcus. He felt his face burn. Later that afternoon, Elias visited him privately. "It started with you," he said. "With your words." Marcus shook his head. "It started with your choice to listen." Elias didn't argue. But the moment everything truly changed, the moment the story reached its heart, came weeks later. Lily ended up hospitalized with severe pneumonia. Marcus didn't have enough saved for the bills. He was prepared to sell everything he owned, maybe even quit the night shift to take care of her. But before he could make those decisions, he received another envelope. This time it wasn't taped to a locker. It was delivered by Elias's personal assistant. Inside was a handwritten note for Lily. "Some investments pay the highest returns in love." Elias attached was confirmation that the entire hospital bill had been paid. Marcus cried for the first time in years, not because of the money, but because someone had shown his daughter the kind of kindness his wife used to believe in. Elias visited Lily in the hospital later that day. He brought her a stuffed bear and sat with her while she played a card game. He wasn't the billionaire CEO in that room. He was just a man trying to do good. Marcus watched from the doorway, feeling something settle in his chest, something like hope. The executives who once laughed at Marcus's advice now followed Elias's lead. Titan Edge grew stronger. Employees felt valued. Turnover dropped. Productivity soared, all because one lonely single dad had chosen kindness over humiliation, and one billionaire had dared to listen. When Lily finally came home, she told her father something he'd never forget. "Daddy," she said, hugging the stuffed bear tight, "your kindness made someone else kind too." And she was right. Kindness has a way of spreading across people, across rooms, across years. It turns strangers into helpers, cold hearts into warm ones, and impossible situations into stories worth telling. So next time someone looks down on you, remember Marcus. And remember that even the smallest act of kindness can reach places you never imagined. Go out today and spread a little kindness. You never know whose life it might change, including your own.